In this episode of Wake Up 100, I'm going to introduce you to the Forbes 100 wealthiest billionaires in America in 2021. But I'm going to go a little deeper than that. I'm going to tell you the first job they had. America is truly the land of opportunity. There isn't anywhere else on the planet that you can accomplish what these people have. And that opportunity is still available to any American citizen. Where else can someone go from delivering newspapers to the #1 investor in America? From washing dishes to owning an NFL franchise? Or turn the traditional used car sales model into a mega enterprise? Many on this list are investors and heirs to great fortunes, but most of them just found a need and filled it. They took something and made it better, easier, or more convenient, or even added more entertainment to our daily lives. And their hard work and dedication, two things that anyone can do, were greatly rewarded because they did it in America. Young or old, advanced degrees or dropouts, blue collar, white collar, or no collar at all. They could have worked just as hard in any other country and not accomplished anywhere near what they've accomplished in the USA. So let's get on with it. In less than 20 minutes, I'm going to put you face to face with America's top 100 billionaires and their first jobs, if known. Here we go. Let's start with the commoners, less than $10 billion. And these are the top 100 billionaires, according to Forbes. Tied for 98 is John C. Malone, $8.4 billion, a cable television mogul. First job unknown, an engineer by trade. David Green, $8.4 billion, retail. Hobby Lobby Mac, first job was a store manager. Jack Dangermond, $8.4 billion, mapping software pioneer. Worked in his parents' plant nursery as his first job. By the way, I am not a master of some of these names, so if I mispronounce them, forgive me. Rocco Commisso, $8.4 billion, built a telecom empire, first job unknown, but in his early life he worked in the financial industry. Lynn Ben, $8.5 billion, smartphone build. Did you know that there are over 100 smartphone manufacturers around the world? Yeah, there are. And the top 10 make billions and billions of dollars. Maybe you've only heard of the top 2, which of course is Samsung and Apple. Number 3 is Lynn Ben Show Me. He started his career off as an engineer. Nancy Walton Laurie, $8.5 billion. The first of numerous Walmart heiress in this case. Got 5 more of those to go. Walmart, giant empire. Henry Kravitz, private equity, $8.5 billion, tied for 94. His first job is unknown, but he did his early work in the New York City financial sector. Shahid Khan, $8.5 billion. If ever there was a walking, talking, flesh and blood example of achievement in America, look no further than Mr. Khan. His first job was washing dishes for $1.20 an hour. And through many years and lots of smart, hard work, he built an auto parts empire. And from those proceeds was able to purchase an NFL franchise, the Jacksonville Jaguars. There is no way in his native country he could have achieved this type of success. But he's an excellent example for anyone with a burning desire to succeed. George Soros, $8.6 billion, known for being both a hedge fund mastermind as well as a political figure. And his first job was railway porter and waiter. Vinod Khosla, venture capital, $8.6 billion. First job unknown, did early work in electronic design. Herbert Kohler Jr., $8.8 billion, plumbing fixtures. Kohler, he joined the family business right out of college. James Goodnight made his $8.8 billion fortune in software. He worked at his father's hardware store. Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, $8.9 billion. Pharmaceutical. First job unknown, a well-known surgeon. According to Forbes, Dr. Soon-Shiong invented a cancer drug and it became a blockbuster thanks to its efficacy against pancreatic cancer. So I'm sure a lot of people owe a great debt of gratitude to the good doctor. George Roberts, private equity, $9 billion. First job unknown, early work was in global investment bank. Bernard Marcus, home improvement, $9.1 billion. He and Arthur Blank started the Home Depot back in '78 when they were fired from their hardware job. Now you think about that. Nothing burns up an achiever like those 2 words. You're fired. Or get out. There's nothing like the pain from the indignity of being told you're fired and walking slowly out the door with all your little things in a box or something like that. The feeling that one person can walk over to you one day and just strip away your income. That has been the jumping off point of several high achievers. And I've read books about a bunch of them. Nothing burns up a person like being told they're fired. And now here's Mr. Marcus. Many years and lots of hard work and dedication later. 2,300 Home Depot stores. Yeah, I got you fired right here, buddy. Jerry Jones, store owner of the Dallas Cowboys. $9.1 billion. Started off working in the family business. Tom and Judy Love, retail gas station. Started a destination stop called Love. So in their early life, they leased a gas station. And now here today, they have over 500 locations in 41 states. And Walton Crank, another Walmart heiress, $9.3 billion. Ernest Garcia III, he and his dad pioneered a better way to sell used cars. And now he's sitting on a $9.3 billion fortune. We haven't even got to his dad yet. He's further up the list. First job unknown, but he was an associate in an investment firm. Paul Xiaoming Lee and family, $9.5 billion. Their empire is packaging. First job unknown. Forbes didn't have a picture, and neither do I. Blair Perry O'Keeton, $9.7 billion. An heiress of the Cox enterprise. She's tied for 80 with Jim Kennedy, her brother, also an heir. He started off as a production assistant for the family business. Leon Black, private equity, $9.9 billion. First job unknown, an accountant by trade. Andrew Beal, big in banks and real estate, like $9.9 billion big, but started off repairing used televisions. Quite a story. Now let's go into the nobles. That's $10 billion to $49 billion. Nobles. George Kaiser, $10 billion. Oil and gas and banking. He first worked for his father's oil company. Nathan Blavatnik, also $10 billion. Airbnb, started a software business in high school. And we're going to see Airbnb a couple of times on this list. Stephen Rails, $10.1 billion. Manufacturing. His first job, he worked at his father's real estate firm. Mark Benioff, $10.2 billion. A business software pioneer. He created and sold video games at age 15. Chase Coleman III, $10.3 billion. Investment. First job is unknown, but he did early work for a hedge fund. David Geffen, well-known name, $10.5 billion. Movies and record label. First job, he was in the mailroom of a talent agency. Imagine that. Tied for 72. Israel Englander, $10.5 billion. Another hedge fund titan. His first job, he interned at an investment. Stanley Cranky, sports and real estate, $10.7 billion. Went from sweeping floors at his dad's lumber yard to owning the LA Rams, an NFL football franchise. Big success story. Gordon Moore, $10.8 billion. Intel pioneer. First job unknown. Worked in a physics lab. Joe Gebbia, $10.8 billion. Another Airbnb. Worked at a bookstore. Carl Cook, heir to the Cook Group, which pioneered medical devices. Worked in the family business for many years. Philip Anschutz, $10.8 billion. His bailiwick is investments, but at 5 years old, he was selling Kool-Aid to college students. It's funny how the younger a person gets bitten by the entrepreneurial bug, the more successful they are in later life. Mr. Anschutz is a good example of that. Jan Koum, $10.9 billion. Pioneer of WhatsApp. And before that, he cleaned a grocery store. Diane Hendricks, $11 billion. She and her husband built ABC Supply Company into one of the largest roofing, siding, and window distributorships in the U.S. before his untimely demise. She started off selling custom homes. Harold Hamm, $11.4 billion. Went from gas station attendant, a person who pumped gas way back when, to owning his own oil and gas enterprise. Charles Schwab, the discount brokerage pioneer, $11.5 billion. First job is unknown. He founded an investment newsletter at a young age. Edward Johnson III, $11.5 billion. Money management with Fidelity. We're going to hear from Fidelity again later in the countdown. His first job was a soldier in the U.S. Army. Brian Armstrong, cryptocurrency, $11.5 billion. First job, he started a tutor student matching business. Lai Ji, pharmaceuticals, $11.6 billion empire. First job is unknown. He was a scientist for a biotech company early in his career. Jeff Yash, trading and investments, $12 billion. First job unknown, an accountant by trade. Brian Chesky, the last of our Airbnb entries, $12.5 billion. First job unknown, specialized in industrial design. Charles Ergen, satellite TV mogul, $13 billion. First job unknown, a financial analyst. Evan Spiegel, co-inventor of Snapchat, $13.8 billion. He started off as a party promoter. We'll hear from Snapchat again real soon. Eric Yuan and family, $14.5 billion. Video communications pioneer. First job is unknown. He's a software engineer by trade. And in response to the big thing, his company went Zoom. Get it? Jack Dorsey, $14.9 billion. Founder of Twitter. First job unknown, dabbled in fashion modeling. That's it. Bobby Murphy, also with Snapchat. First job unknown, trained software engineer. $15.2 billion. John Dare, also $15.2 billion. A venture capital stalwart. First job unknown, was an engineer for Intel. David Duffield, business software pioneer, $15.5 billion. First job, he mowed lawn. David Tepper, hedge fund titan, $15.8 billion. His first job was working in a library to pay for school, and now today owns the Carolina Panthers, an NFL franchise. Steve Cohen, hedge fund, $16 billion. Started off as a junior trader on Wall Street. Ken Griffin, $16.1 billion, also hedge fund. He started off running a mail order software business out of his bedroom as a teen. Donald Bren, a $16.2 billion real estate empire. First job was the United States Marine Corps officer. According to Forbes, he is America's richest real estate baron. Quite an accomplishment. Jay Choudhary, $16.3 billion. Security software. First job unknown. He's the son of Indian farmers. John Menard Jr. of Menard's Home Improvement, $16.6 billion. Started off making pole buildings with college friends. Carl Icahn, $16.6 billion. Investments. He was a college dropout who later joined the military. Brothers Hank and Doug Meyer, heirs to the Myers Supermarket enterprise, $16.9 billion. Lucas Walton, $17.2 billion. Another Walmart heir. Donald Newhouse, $18.1 billion. Media mogul, heir to Advanced Publication. Ernest Garcia II, the father of Carvana, $18.8 billion. Used cars. First job unknown, he started off as a real estate developer. Robert Pera, $19 billion. Built a wireless gear enterprise. His first job was testing Wi-Fi devices for Apple. Fast forward many years later to owner of the Memphis Grizzlies, an NBA sports franchise. Thomas Peterfeet, $20 billion. Another discount brokerage. Started off as a draftsman for an engineering firm. Ray Dalio, an interview mainstay on finance and business shows. A hedge fund king, $20 billion. Had a summer job at a trading firm. Thomas Frisch Jr. and family, $20.8 billion. Hospital. That HCA Healthcare logo is all over the city where I live. First job is unknown, but he was an Air Force flight surgeon. Jensen Huang, $21.3 billion. First job, Denny's restaurant, and he built a semiconductor enterprise. And just imagine this guy wiping down and clearing tables 8 to 10 hours a day, and then spending the next 8 hours working on his semiconductor enterprise, and then sliding in 3 to 4 hours sleep wherever he could get it. I'm sure that's how it went. Lorene Powell Jobs, widow of the late Steve Jobs, $22.1 billion. Apple and Disney interests. First job unknown. Sam Bankman-Fried, $22.5 billion. The cryptocurrency king on our countdown. First job unknown. Worked for a global trading firm. Rupert Murdoch and family, $23 billion. A common name in newspapers and TV networks. First job unknown, was a newspaper editor in his young life. Eric Schmidt, longtime CEO of Google, $23.9 billion. Worked various IT positions when he wore a younger man's clothes. Dustin Muskovitz, Facebook, left college early, $24.1 billion. Jim Simons, $24.4 billion from hedge funds. Started off as a basement stocker for a garden supply company. Abigail Johnson, money manager, $25.2 billion with Fidelity. She started as an apprentice in an investment firm. Pierre Omidyar, $25.3 billion, pioneer of eBay and PayPal. Did computer science work for an Apple subsidiary. Leonard Lauder, $28.9 billion, heir to the Estee Lauder Company. Miriam Adelson, $30.4 billion, widow of the late casino and hotel magnate Sheldon Adelson. Daniel Gilbert of Quicken Loans, $30.9 billion. He worked part-time at his parents' real estate office, and many years later built up Quicken Loans and later purchased the Cleveland Cavaliers, another NBA franchise. Tied for 21 is John Mars at $31.8 billion. He is the son and heir of the Mars fortune, and he splits control of Mars with his sister, Jack, also $31.8 billion. Lynn Blavatnik, $36.7 billion, founder of the Warner Music Group. His interests are music and chemicals. First job unknown. He formed an investment group when he was younger. And Steven Schwarzman, $37.4 billion, an investments king. First job unknown. Financial services is his calling card. And now we're on to royalty, $50 billion to $99 billion. I want to kind of put something in perspective here. Royalty can righteously look off their noses at individuals with $1 billion. $1 billion. Peasant. And people that made $1 billion didn't even make the list. $1 billion. You peasant. Well, anyway, back to the countdown. This is royalty. Michael Dell, $50.1 billion. Dropped out of college to build Dell Computers. Julia Koch and family, $51 billion. Widow of David Koch, one of the Koch brothers. So she's tied for 16, of course, with Charles Koch, the other Koch brother. Charles started off working at his father's business. Mackenzie Scott, $58.5 billion. She is the former wife of Jeff Bezos, an author and a prolific philanthropist. Phil Knight of Nike, $59.9 billion. You know, if I ask 100 people, what is it that Nike sells? All 100 of them will probably tell me, well, silly, they sell shoes and gear and stuff. And if I ask them, okay, so why do they sell so much more than other people who sell shoes and gear and stuff? I might get kind of a blank stare. Now here's the thing, Nike does not sell shoes and gear and stuff. Oh yeah, that's the material part of the purchase. What they sell is experience. They sell a feeling. If you look at their commercials, you can see that they're selling a feeling. You can see that they're selling an experience. What experience do you get from wearing our gear? That's what they're really selling. They tapped into an emotional component, and when you can successfully wrap an emotional component around a product, you can sell it for a whole lot more than your competition, and people will be beating down your doors to get it because they want the experience, they want the feeling. Phil Knight understood that. I mean, what is their motto? Just do it. Just do it doesn't refer to buying the shoes. Of course, that's very important. Just do it means go get the experience. Get our gear and go get the experience. Go do the thing. So Nike became a master at drawing people to the desire for the experience. Rob Walton, another Walmart heir, $67.8 billion. Also Alice Walton, $67.9 billion. And then finally Jim Walton at $68.8 billion. Walmart, huge enterprise. Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of New York City, built Bloomberg LP, $70 billion. His first job is unknown, but he did work an entry-level job at an investment bank. And Steve Ballmer, longtime Microsoft CEO, $96.5 billion, also owns the LA Clippers, another NBA franchise, which is far and away better than his first gig as an assistant production manager for Procter & Gamble. And now we finish off with
the Masters of the Universe.
The last 8 on our countdown are $100 billion plus. Here we go. Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, $102 billion. Investor extraordinaire. As a kid, he was the one that chucked the paper into your flower pot or in the puddle or behind your bushes. Larry Ellison, software pioneer of Oracle, $117.3 billion. A college dropout who worked multiple jobs as a youth. Sergey Brin, Google, $118.5 billion. He left college early to co-found the world's most dominant search engine and most visited website. Co-founded with Larry Page, $123 billion. Also left college early. Bill Gates, Microsoft, $134 billion. Earlier work unknown, began writing programs as a kid before high school, which was a pretty rare feat back in the early 1970s. And Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, $134.5 billion, left college early to co-found what would eventually become the world's most popular social media platform. Okay, folks, we are down to number 2 and number 1 in our countdown of America's 100 richest in the year 2021, according to Forbes Magazine. Now, Forbes every year puts out their list, their Forbes 400. They put it out every year, and I'm sure they're very proud of that list. It's a very storied list. They've been doing it for many years. But I'll bet they were about pulling their hair out at the developments that took place after July of 2021. Let me explain. By Forbes' list, Elon Musk settled in at number 2 at a very comfortable $190 billion. And number 1, Jeff Bezos, was $201 billion. Now, here's the thing. On Forbes' own website, it says that Jeff Bezos stepped down from CEO to take the position as executive chairman in July 2021. Okay? Now, here's the kicker, or here's a couple of kickers. Evidently, between July 2021 and November of 2021, Elon Musk overtook Jeff Bezos as the richest man in America. Now, he didn't just overtake Jeff Bezos. He blew by Jeff Bezos. Mr. Musk zoomed from $190 billion to over $300 billion. According to Forbes, article written November 2nd, 2021, Elon Musk, $300 billion. So he overtook Jeff Bezos by $100 billion in less than 4 months. Now that is worthy of some perspective, folks, so let me give you an absolutely mind-blowing fact. Mr. Musk is wealthier than the bottom 30 on our list combined. And remember, billionaire doesn't even get you in the room on this list. Minimum entry is $8 billion. So he's worth more than the bottom 30 combined. And 3 of them own football teams. One of them, their football team just won the Super Bowl. It's unbelievable. Peasant, look at you. You Super Bowl winning football team owning peasant. It's just disgraceful. That's what it is. Both men have very lofty space exploration aspirations. If this was some kind of space race, Mr. Bezos would be landed on the moon while Mr. Musk was sitting on one of the rings of Saturn waving at it. That is an unprecedented, meteoric rise in wealth. For the record, Mr. Bezos got his start as a fry cook for McDonald's, it says here. I mean, can you just imagine that? Jeff Bezos, full head of hair, working behind the counter at McDonald's, getting hit with random spackles of hot vegetable oil, getting those fries out to you hot and telling you to have a nice day. That's quite an image, huh? For the record, Mr. Musk's first job was unknown, but he started a web software company while he was still in high school. No big surprise there. And that's it. The 100 wealthiest billionaires in America, according to Forbes, with their first job. Bloomberg says that over 1,700 millionaires are created every day in America. Every day. So forget about commoners, royalty, and future billionaires splattered with fry grease. How about just millionaires? Maybe once you stop watching this video, you can...